And it's any minute, this wonderful computer. It's such a pretty computer. Okay, great. Well, we are recording, so welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Jamie Porter. I am so excited to welcome you guys to our 321 Home Buying Series seminar that we do about every 6 weeks. The home buying team, if you guys are on the home buying team, wave your hand. We got Jerry and Amy Bosco, Jerry Frulio, and Erik Reed. We, the four of us, we do this home buying 321 home buying seminar about every 6 weeks. We cover different topics. Sometimes it's geared for the new home buyer. Sometimes it's just geared for what's going on in the marketplace with mortgages and whatnot. We are really excited to bring to you in this really strange time of, the virus that we have going around worldwide, this pandemic. It has put out some unusual and unprecedented circumstances. And so we brought a couple of local experts. For those of you who are interested in knowing what's going on here in Brevard County, we have a couple of local experts that we wanted to have a conversation with you about what's going on in the real estate market, what's going on in the financial world. So we are really excited to bring Mitch Ribak with eXp Realty Tropical. How do you say that, Mitch? Tropical Realty?
Tropical Beachside.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Kevin Chancellor, who's with Edward Jones. And then, of course, Erik Reed, who is with the mortgage firm, part of our 321 Home Buyers team. So we are super excited to hear from them. I am not going to talk anymore. I'm going to pass this baton over to Jerry. And Jerry, you want to introduce the speakers and do whatever it is you want to do.
Hey, thank you. So first is she introduced Mitch, and Mitch is with Tropical Beachside, but Mitch is nationally known within EXP and within real estate in general. He leads a lot of training classes. He's talking all over. Mitch, I mean, almost every state you're in at some point or talking to people in the other states.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, I've been training all over North America for about 15 years.
Yeah, Mitch has his thumb on real estate in general, which is why we invited him, not just Brevard County, but he can talk about basically anywhere. Kevin Chancellor with Edward Jones. He's a financial advisor and really someone that I trust with when I need the information. He's always doing his research. He knows what's going on in the markets. He also understands the importance of balanced portfolios, which include real estate and investments. So, and then Erik is one of the biggest assets we have here as far as this team goes with the mortgages. He's always available to me and to Amy and Jamie, and just does a phenomenal job. But he's also kind of keeping track of what's going on with the mortgage markets and can talk about where we expect things to be based upon the challenges we're facing right now. So as Jamie said, if you have questions, just type them in and we can get those answered. I've asked everybody to give just a little 50,000 foot view of what's going on in those markets right now, and then those questions can start rolling in. So who wants to, Mitch, you want to start? Or?
Sure, I don't mind starting. So anyway, like you said, I'm Mitch Ribak with Tropical Beachside, brokered by eXp Realty. I've been in the business for 19 years, which is the longest I've ever done anything in my life. I've not even been able to do a marriage for that long. So, so it's it's a fun business. It's a challenging business at times. Right now is one of those challenges, and one of the things with the realtors that are out there still working, which there are a lot of us still working, you just need to adapt to what's going on. So, Jamie and Jerry had asked me to talk a little bit about the local market and what's going on here. And we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown the past 2 weeks, actually a good size slowdown, probably about 40%, based on the stats from the MLS of homes that have gone under contract, new listings, and things like that. But it's kind of an interesting time because we're not in a financial crisis like we were in 2008, 9, 10. It's a pandemic, and we really believe that once this ends, which hopefully in the next 30 to 60 days max, that we're going to see the market come back strong. So there's some really interesting opportunities right now. One is there are not as many showings on houses as normal. And what that means for you, the buyer, is an opportunity to not have as many multiple offers going on in contracts. So pretty much every deal before this happened, there was pretty much multiple offers on almost every deal. We're still getting those, but not as much as we were. So showing homes differently. We're doing virtual open houses. So instead of inviting people to our open houses, we walk around the house that way. So we've gotten everybody. So we've gotten them a whole kit to basically when they walk in the house to put on and walk through the house. And then we've instructed the seller that after someone leaves that they need to wipe down the house. And we instruct the realtors on how to show the houses. Don't touch anything. Is really just touch door knobs and things like that, so the seller doesn't have to disinfect the entire house. The one opportunity that I'm seeing in this market is, depending on how long a home has been on a market, depending if it's vacant, depending on the situation, because every situation is different, you can get a decent deal. I did one the other day. It was listed at 195. We got it for 160. Now, I'm not going to say that's the norm right now because it's not, but there are some deals to be had right now that people that have to sell that, there's less buyers, like 40% down. So there's less buyers out there right now. So it's a great opportunity to buy right now. Interest rates remain low, but the credit scores are a little bit higher. I think the minimum credit score, maybe Erik can talk about, is about 640 right now. Is that true, Erik? Maybe. That's what I'm hearing from most of my lenders, and Erik will talk about that, I'm sure. But if you got good credit, this is actually a really good opportunity because there's less competition to buy. So that's and they're actually selling a lot of homes, and they haven't shown any homes. It's all being done virtually. So we adapt. That's what's happened now.
Thank you. Sorry, I was muted. Kevin, you want to give yours, and then we can go into some questions. And I actually have a couple questions that have come in. So
sure. First off, thanks for having me on here. I know, bridge over troubled water. There's a lot of people feeling troubled right now, especially in their portfolios or 401ks. But my name is Kevin Chancellor. I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones Investments. And basically, I'm a comprehensive wealth manager for my clients, both all individuals, families, and business owners. And I help them grow their assets in the most tax-efficient, creditor-protected way possible. What I'm finding with a lot of my clients right now is, I tell them when they first start with me, in great times, I'm your champion, but in bad times, I'm your coach. So I'm finding myself coaching a lot of my clients to not look at the fear that's being spread right now, but also the opportunities that lie within the markets and how to rebalance and take advantage of some of these opportunities. And I'll piggyback on what Mitch said about the economy. We entered 2020 on a strong economic foundation. And, there's really nothing fundamentally wrong with our financial sector. In 2008, we had a fundamental flaw with the financial sector, with the mortgage industries. And that's just not true at this time. It is a biological crisis that has caused an economic crisis. So our firm and our analysts and the people that do our research, we've actually done research on similar and behaviors that are associated with them, and they've fallen right in line. We see sharp declines, a lot of sharp ups, a lot of sharp downs. We do feel, though, that this is going to be a short-lived recovery. We can't predict how fast everything will come in. We see more of a phasing of the economy, but there's nothing fundamentally wrong with our economy right now. So once this does subside and we start to see, as we saw last week in the markets being up and some great rallies due to information coming out of less cases of the coronavirus and hospitalizations, is going to start to shift the markets coming back up. And the markets always recover faster than the economy does anyways. So what I'm helping my clients do, especially in the real estate world, is also, like Jerry said, I look at balanced portfolios. Do people have rental properties in their portfolios? Are there assets outside of the markets? Do you have a good allocation of bonds versus stocks? So I take a look at all of those things and try to reduce the risk on a client's portfolio as much as possible. But so I'm in here to answer anybody's fears or concerns or questions they may have on what's going on in the economy and the markets, and because I've been answering them all since February. So thank you for having me again.
Thank you.
thanks, Kevin. Erik?
Yeah, Yeah, first off, thank everyone for joining us today. Again, I say it all the time, but I'm really humbled and privileged to be part of this group. And this is a great panel of industry experts. The silver lining about this virus is the unity I've witnessed in my personal life with friends and family, my community, and my professional life. So, I mean, tonight's a real treat. I'm excited to hear from these experts. I've already got some good tidbits, but lifelong entrepreneur, you know, former brokerage owner before EXP, Mitch Ribak, and a seasoned wealth strategist like Kevin Chancellor, which I assume we're going to be hearing a lot from tonight. And this powerful real estate team of Jama Porter and Amy Dixon, led by JLFrulio, who's seen it all in his 3 decades in this local area. But everyone here working cohesively through this adversity as we adjust to these dynamic changes. Personally, I find myself lately feeling more like a therapist than a mortgage advisor. I'm sure some of the other speakers here feel the same. No matter how experienced anyone here is, no one could have predicted this global stay-at-home pandemic environment. Policymakers are figuring things out on the fly without having the time to think through the details and ramifications. It's highly dynamic. And like always, I'm here to share my information, perspective, and unique understanding of this current environment. And to the points of Kevin and Mitch, we are just coming off and probably still continue to have a lack of inventory here in Brevard. I have multiple clients missing contracts on what I think are very solid offers. So the people buying houses in this market are not looky-loos. They're serious buyers, and for good reason. What area in the U.S. is better poised for a speedy economic recovery? You've seen the construction. The EDC has done an unbelievable job of bringing high-quality jobs here to the Space Coast. Brevard will always be a desirable place to live with a high quality of life. So whatever law this temporary may cause in this local real estate market, I believe we are going to have a very strong housing recovery, just like Kevin mentioned. So whether optimistic or pessimistic, we will get through this crisis and eventually look back someday and see what we did with the opportunities before us now. And we always learn our lessons through adversity, not when things are going great. Opportunity has always come disguised as a crisis. You lock Gen Zers and millennials into an apartment long enough, and I promise they're going to come out wanting to purchase real estate. So when we look back at this someday, at what we did, you know, with these opportunities before us right now, we may have to get a little uncomfortable, or I should say comfortable being uncomfortable for a little while. But like Kevin said, focus less on the fear. Remember why we chose this area to lay roots. Just think long, stay strong, and stay wise.
Thanks, Eric. I'm going to come back to you because I got a couple questions for you. But Kevin, one of the two, there's two actually that I can let you talk on a little bit. But one is, you know, just the outlook post-Corona, and you touched on that a little bit. But also, the question came in today about withdrawing from, like in this time, if it's a good buyer's market, like Mitch was saying, withdrawing from an IRA 401k to use that for down payments and options there, because I know they've relaxed some of that. Talk on that a little bit.
Yeah, they've relaxed it under the CARES Act, but with that comes some stipulations, like you have to have been affected by the COVID-19, you have to have like or a family member. There's a few specific guidelines, but there are a few people that may have been furloughed due to this that have 401ks that they can withdraw of, and the IRS and the federal government has allowed you to draw up to $100,000 on a withdrawal or a loan that is penalty free because of this, as well as they're allowing you 3 years to pay back any tax implications that may happen because of the withdrawal. Now, that's where I would talk to the person individually, because everybody's situation is completely different. We'd have to look and see, is it beneficial for you to draw even if your portfolio is down? Is there certain other assets that I would rather you pull from if you were to look at using assets to buy a home? Because in a taxable account, there may be some tax harvesting we can use for taxes. So it's a very individual basis, for every person. But if you have liquid assets such as IRAs, 401ks, or taxable accounts, you can use those assets. And I know Erik looks at some of those things that maybe they can do portfolio underwriting based on the amount of assets you have on hand without having to withdraw those. So that's where it's profession to say, okay, if he can get it done without us withdrawing, let's do that. Is a loan better than a withdrawal? So I help people work through their stuff and look through their 401k documents to see, and then do they fall in that narrow gap of being affected by the coronavirus, and it falls under the CARES Act. So everybody has a very unique situation, and you just have to, just talk with those people. Now, under a standard, you can take up to $10,000 out on a penalty free, and then once again, looking at everybody's unique situation, is it the best route to go? So, from a tax perspective as well as from a long-term investing perspective. But I am a huge believer of having real estate in the portfolio. It is just another asset that gains equity, just like your investments.
Yeah,
I hope that answered.
Yeah, great answer, Kevin. A lot of information there. But I think we're going to have that common theme tonight, which a lot of these answers are going to be, like you said, it's unique to that person's situation. It really is hard to have just a general answer for a lot of those things. It's the same thing with one of the questions that I see right here in the group chat. What is the minimum credit score everyone's seeing out there? And again, everything's still case by case. There's still strengths we can look at. There's always compensating factors. There's so many different things. There's so many different loan types and loan programs. Yes, things have tightened up in certain areas, but at the same time, while we're seeing that, we're also seeing money pour in from, the government. We're probably going to likely even see some sort of bailout program towards the government-sponsored entities, and that's when you're probably going to see the guidelines get a little looser again on the government loans, which were always the case before. So that's why, we're hearing a lot, hey, what's our minimum credit score? Is it 640 now? Generally what everyone was asking us before, we were just, we were going right into a VA and an FHA loan. Well, those options are still out there, but there's just some other things that you need to look at. And, and in some situations, we may be putting you in a better situation to purchase in the very near future. And sometimes it might be right now. But regardless, it's like you said, it kind of really depends on a lot of factors, which come out and, listening to someone and trying to determine what's best for them.
You're muted, Jerry.
Jerry, you're muted.
I know. I wasn't, and then I muted myself so I could talk. The way I roll.
Yeah, there you go.
I have people messaging me. I've been asking one of them, back to Kevin, and no surprise here, about the huge loss. I took a huge loss. Right now, my IRA 401k. Should I move to cash to reduce further losses?
Oh wow, that's a tough one. And in this kind of market, sell is that 4-letter word. Now, that's a loaded question, and here's why. If they're in unusually risky investments to begin with, then that may be something to sell to buy better quality investments. But let's say in a theoretical, they had a well-balanced, well-diversified portfolio And I would not recommend that, because what's happening when your account values go down, I know that's the thing we focus on, but what is it really doing while it's down? And that is, the engine is filling up and fueling up. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you own 100 shares in XYZ company and you get a $1 dividend per share. So when that dividend pays, you have $100 and you can buy one additional share. Now let's say XYZ company fell 30%, now it's $70. You still get $1 on per share on a dividend. So now not only are you buying one share, you're also buying a fraction of a second share. So down markets are actually beneficial for people's portfolios to fuel up, ramp up, and then when we start to make a recovery, you have more shares that can just come up even faster. So it's a way without you having to put additional money in the market to buy additional shares. So I would say this too. Markets have a tendency to place people and level the playing field and put them where they should be to begin with. So if they were over aggressive in their portfolios and now they need to be more fixed income, well, the market did that naturally. They should have never been in an aggressive portfolio to begin with. So sometimes those people that do say, hey, I want to go to cash or I want to do that, should have never been in the markets to begin with. So I will, so I advise people on that. But after all things considered, sell is a 4-letter word unless there's an appropriate reason. Now, if there's investments that you have that are lower quality, that you've taken a loss on outside of the umbrellas of 401ks and IRAs, you can sell those, harvest those losses on your taxes, and buy something of high quality. So that way it can come back up. So there's a lot of things to consider there. But if it was a well-diversified, good portfolio, then no, I don't think cash is. That's the worst thing to do, because you miss the worst day in the market. You also miss the 3 best recovery days.
Thanks. Hey, Mitch, one of the participants mentioned that, and I know she's looking to sell right now, as a matter of fact, said you keep mentioning a buyer's market. What about the seller? What do you see for values and selling right now?
Yeah, so far, so it's a buyer's market for a house that's been on the market for a long time, which usually means it started out overpriced to begin with. Homes that are priced correctly are not lasting a long time. So right now, it's still a great time to sell. And when I talked about buyer's opportunity, it's really about homes that have been on the market for 3-4 months right now, because they were overpriced to begin with, and then they came down to market value during this time period. So sellers right now, I mean, my last 4 listings all sold within a week in this market. Now, I will caveat that is if you, depending on the community you're in, I'll give you an example. I have one listing that hasn't even had a showing in 2 weeks, which is really unusual, right? Priced perfectly. I know it's priced exactly the way it should be. And what I realized when I was analyzing this last week with the seller is they're in a 55+ community. So everybody's saying if you're 50, 60 years old, or don't leave your house, right? Those people are generally not looking at houses right now. So therefore, since it's a 55+ community, we're not getting any showings there. But all in all, it's still a really good time to sell. I mean, homes are still selling really quickly. We're getting an offer today on a house that I've had for a while that was overpriced. Per the seller's request, which I try not to do that too often, because it doesn't help anybody. But the reality, if your home is priced correctly, and it's in decent shape, but even houses that aren't in decent shape, depending on pricing, if the price is if that's taken into account in the pricing, they're still selling, and they're selling pretty quickly.
Sorry, I got to be a little bit quicker with
I feel like let me just throw a little bit on that as well, because, just for the sellers. So I have a new listing that's launching on Monday, and it's a coming soon property, and already I've got 3 people that are lined up to go see it as soon as it comes on the market on Monday. So there are people out there absolutely looking for the good deals, sellers, listing, and there are lots of people that have been waiting for this to be able to go out and buy. And like Mitch said, especially if they're priced right. So that's just a little example of something going on right now.
I have a couple people with two different questions. One, Kevin, for you, and then one, Erik, for you. Kevin, first, I have someone who wants to know if bonds are a better way to invest right now versus stocks.
Okay, so you have to understand the role of both of those types of investments. Bonds equal reliable income in your portfolio. Stocks serve one of two purposes. It's either going to grow by dividend income or it's going to grow by the value of it going up. I think that bonds are an important part of a well-diversified portfolio because they are the winners some years. Plus, in this market, if you were invested in the S&P 500 and that's all you had, you lost close to 30%. But if you had fixed income, such as bonds in your portfolio, that softened the blow, and maybe you were down only 15 or 16%. So I do feel that they are good investments. You need to make sure that if you're in bonds, that you're in high quality bonds or high quality bond funds. You want to make sure that the things you have in your portfolio are investment grade. They're not junk bonds, or they're not under types of industries that are going to probably take a huge loss. You need to have high quality in there. But fixed income is a very important item, to asset class to have in your portfolio. Should it be all of your portfolio? Maybe if you're 90, 80, something like that. Less bonds the younger you are, because more time you have, the less risk on your portfolio to grow it. The less time horizon you have, maybe the more fixed income you should have. But that's a case-by-case basis and based on a person's risk.
Right. Erik, I have a question regarding mortgages. Is one better than the other as far as qualifying for building a new home, mortgage on a new home versus an existing home?
Well, no. You're probably talking about an end loan anyways. So that really doesn't matter. I mean, if you're doing an end loan and the place isn't going to be, fully constructed till, we'll say, August, one good thing about that is you get to sit on the sidelines through this wild ride of interest rates and craziness and just kind of say, hey, I'm qualified. We'll see where we're at in August with all this stuff. So no, not really. I mean, construction loan's a different story, or a vacant land property to eventually build on. But if you're just talking a regular end loan, no, not so much.
Okay, thank you.
So I had a question that Erik might follow that too, and Mitch, you can weigh in too. I guess we've both seen it, but between title and lending, insurance, are there any delays in appraisals in the process in general? I'm still seeing 30-day closes and kind of business as usual. What are you guys seeing?
Yeah, we're not running into any delays so far on anything. Things are closed in 30 days. On a FHA and a VA, we generally put 45 days anyways, just to be safe on it before. Just we haven't written contracts like that for years. On conventional, we always write 30 days. So yeah, we haven't really seen any type of issues at all. Title's still closing. We did a closing the other day. The title company did the closing in the parking lot. So, again,
That's awesome.
like I said earlier, we're adapting, right? We have to adapt to what's going on.
Yeah. Well, first off, if Mitch is your mentor, take a cue from him on 45 days on contracts, because no one on this team has ever given me over 30 days, but that's quite all right. And that's back to what I said about just, what's been so awesome about this crisis is just the unity, is seeing how everyone's adapting and coming together. And just like you said there, the title company doing that out in the parking lot. I know a title agent that went to someone's house and actually did it. She actually knew the person. She felt comfortable enough to do that. As you know, there's some title agents that have the mobile closing, they have that van, and then, they're, more and more looking into remote online notarization, which is a whole nother thing that,
Yep.
it's coming down the pipe. But no, right now I'm not seeing really delays in anything. The IRS is actually shut down most of their facilities. So believe it or not, we have to go out and get tax transcripts to close a loan, at least request these things, especially on a conventional loan. So there's ways around that. So it's knowing what to do. And in that situation, the borrower themselves, there's a link that we provide, and they go on and they actually request their own tax transcripts. Whereas before we would just order these things. Well, now these things are basically out indefinitely. And as far as the appraisals go, you're hearing lots of things of everyone jumping in, from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, to even now the VA and FHA of starting to relax their guidelines and start to allow some exterior only appraisals, which is remarkable that the government loans are starting to allow this thing. But I haven't had an issue with an appraisal being delayed until about 3 weeks ago. And 3 weeks ago was just an amazing time, because we were still, that's when, we were finishing up March, which I want to say was one of the best months ever in Brevard County real estate. It was just amazing. So we had all this inventory. The rates got really good. So we refinanced a ton of people. And so more so, if anyone saw a slowdown from appraisers, it was due to just a remarkable real estate environment, not so much COVID related. But now I'm not, when I order an appraisal, it's being accepted right away, and nobody's pushing back any dates. And yeah, we still don't need, longer than 30 days on any contract. So yeah.
That's great.
Thanks, Erik. And yeah, don't pay attention to what Mitch said. You have 30 days. It doesn't matter.
I guess I'm nicer than they are, I guess. Right?
Let me see. There's a couple more, and no surprise, a lot of it was for Kevin.
On the chopping block tonight.
And while you're doing that, by the way, it's all about expectations, right? And the reason why we always try to close before 45 days. Most of our closing happens in 30, 35 days. But, I like to give, expectations that this is a possibility. So we go to this amount, and it's always on or before. We never do 45 days hard. It's always on or before. And I would say we very seldom will go out to 40 days or 45 days. They're usually, like Erik said, 30 days. Just depend. And on a conventional loan, I never do that. It's just that we've had issues with in the past with VA and FHA appraisers coming out and wanting more repairs done, getting out there a little later than we'd like. I just don't like to do addendums. So I'd rather figure that all in, and then if we have to, I haven't had to extend a loan in years, or a contract in years, because that's how I do my things, and that it just protects everybody. So there's no. Again, we've had appraisers come out there, FHA and VA, and as Erik said, some of them are really easy right now. They're coming out there and boom, done. I had one, though, a couple weeks ago. He called out more stuff than I've seen any appraiser call out in 10 years. So it's all subjective. So every appraiser is different. They'll pull different comps. They'll look at different things and repairs. Some people will say, just fix a little bit of wood rot there. And some people will say, well, I'm going to go on the roof, which you don't see very often, but that's why we do that. We just take everything into consideration to be safe.
Sorry, I just did that again, and I lost it. Kevin, it was the financial advisor mentioned something about real estate as a good addition to your portfolio, and just can you explain that?
Yeah, sure. So there's a couple of ways to look at it. I look at guaranteed income, semi-guaranteed income. In real estate, if you're on the rental side, I look at it somewhat semi-guaranteed, because there may be months where you don't have renters or anything like that if you're trying to do some of that. But it has been a good buffer in a portfolio to provide some extra income, so that people can choose to either draw off that income or draw off their retirement assets. And in down markets, it's nice to have that stable rental income. If you can keep the renters in there and they're able to pay. That's why I call it semi-guaranteed. But it is, I will tell you, out of all the clients I have, the ones that do have real estate in their portfolios or have pensions or have things like that are usually we don't have to be so aggressive on their investments to grow, to sustain a certain lifestyle. It kind of lowers the overall volatility in their investment portfolios. Now, in terms of a home buyer, if you're looking to buy a home, I look at a house as an asset. There are times when people have taken, loans that are, very low interest rate to do some things with investing with. And so, I mean, you look at a home as an asset, and then there has been times where people have used these assets to sell, to either buy vacation property somewhere or to fund part of their retirement. Maybe they downsize. So real estate is a very good thing, whether you're a home buyer or you're going to use rental properties. It's very good to have in your portfolio. And when you look at, when I look at estate planning for people, the two biggest assets we look at first are their investments and their properties. That's really the two things we look at. And so, so I like seeing it in a portfolio if it's a source of income. I also like seeing people in there who are owning their home versus renting. That because you are paying yourself and you are putting equity in, and that equity rises just like a stock appreciation would, or a bond appreciation. So that's why I like it in a portfolio.
Mitch, this question is actually, I was thinking about it when you were talking, I've got a new listing coming up, and I've always done, I always do professional photography on a listing and drone, but because of the virtual nature of like open houses, are you seeing, like, is it really important to spend the extra money on like Matterport or a video walkthrough, or are people still doing that and using like social media? Where would your strategy be on that?
Yeah, we're doing, we have a new listing that's coming up tomorrow also, maybe Friday. And yeah, everything we're doing has walkthrough videos right now. I got literally 3 requests this week from consumers for videos of our property. So Matterport is a great way to do it. We've been doing walkthrough videos instead of Matterport, which we think are a little more personal because you can comment on them and stuff. But they're both great. But yeah, you need to be, as a realtor, you need to be doing a little bit extra to be able to get the virtual aspect of what we're doing. And when you're, as the guests on here, or the consumers on here, the guests on here, if you're going to sell your house, make sure you're using someone that's doing that stuff, because that's what everybody's looking at right now. There's a lot less showings in person. There's a lot of virtual showings right now, and it starts with the virtual tour or the video walkthrough. Absolutely.
I bought a home.
Jamie's awesome with that. Jamie has been doing that on her listings, and what you, like a day or two, and you were both sides of the transaction, right?
Yeah. Well, like Mitch said, I don't do the, I do a virtual, I have a photographer take the stills and do a virtual, a 3D, it's a 3D thing, but I do a walkthrough and talk, and as if I was with somebody walking them through the house and pointing out the different features. And it is, I think, a little more personal. And I think too, as a realtor, they get to know me a little bit, and so in fact, this my last client that I had, they're from Maryland, and we've actually gotten to know each other, and I think that is part of it, is she got to see me and me talking.
Yeah, I like the video walkthrough too for that reason.
Yeah.
It just gives you a little more personality than just the still photos or the Matterport. There's no emotion there. There's no explaining, and this is a wicked awesome fridge. I don't know if there's any fridges that are wicked awesome, but
for sure. I think with realtors, they get afraid. They're afraid of being not perfect. And I think that in our world today, people don't really want to see perfect people. I know I'm definitely not, as you can see, I am not perfect. And I think that you're just real. And I think that's the nice thing about video, is they can just get to see you. When you meet a new friend, you don't worry about being perfect for your new friend that you're meeting, or a new person, right? And it's just that's what I think speaks to people, is just being real. So.
Sorry, I was just scrolling through to see any others. Is anybody, and you know, I want to we can keep doing this. So anybody who's attending, you know, do this. And Jamie, did you say this is streaming also?
No, frustration. No, it like streams for like 2 minutes and then stops. And I don't know. I need to investigate. I'm actually going to probably look into StreamYard probably more, but anyway, no. It did twice tried. Sorry.
Does anybody have anything else? Kevin, Mitch, Eric, anything?
Just that this really has been wicked awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like I said, just don't have the fear right now, because it's not, you know, I had a few people say to me, you know, well, is the market going to collapse and stuff like that? Are we going to see the house prices drop? I don't see it now. And look at, there's my crystal ball. It's a glass, and I look through it, and it is not filled with vodka, by the way. It's just water. And no, I don't see it. I could be wrong, but I would venture to say right now you have a couple of month opportunity, which is a really good opportunity for people that have to sell their homes, versus when the market comes back strong again, which is going to be in 60. I don't think it's gonna be more than 60 days. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. So don't be afraid to do stuff right now, because this is the time as a buyer, because it's been a seller's market for a long time right now. And this might be just a little twist of a time that you have to take advantage of this.
Yeah, and on my end, as far as from a financial perspective, is you know, opportunities are all over the place right now in certain sectors, and you know, not just in real estate, but all over the place. And you just have to know where to look, and you have to have the right team to look for you and to help guide you towards that. So in real estate, having that good realtor, and you know, and I get asked questions, you know, when I say, when clients tell me, hey, I'm about to buy a house, and I'm like, well, do you have a realtor? Yeah, I know a guy. I'm like, but are they a good one? Are they a good person? Or, you know, it can't be your friend that does it part-time. So having someone on your side. And then also, I help, one of my big things during this is educating people to overcome the fears that they see on the media and the volatility that we see, things in perspective, market perspective. We're seeing our returns back to where they were around 2018. When we were in a trade war with China and the markets ended down that entire year, cash was king, but no one freaked out about that. Now, you know, because we were just used to growth. Now we are having a little bit of anxiety. So anybody on this call that needs to, you know, put to rest and kind of see and put things in perspective. You know, I'm hosting educational seminars 2 times this month, once this Friday and one again on the 29th at noon. Just it goes over the 10 principles of how to be a long-term investing, you know, how to build long-term investing resilience. And that is how to look at the big picture, how to overcome fears, and also to put things in perspective that even downturns are opportunities to better your financial position. So if anybody's interested in that, you can reach out to one of the presenters on here and they can connect you to me. But yeah, strong recovery. I think it's a strong recovery. It may not be a V-shaped like as sharp as it came down and it'll quickly go back up. It may be more of a gradual U, but at the same time, it is still geared for a strong recovery, not only in the financial markets, but I'm sure the real estate markets as well.
I just want to say something really quick. I will definitely put in that event everybody's, Mitch and Jerry and Erik and Kevin's, all the speakers here, their contact information, so that if you have specific questions financially or whatever, if you're, you know, obviously my client, you know how to get a hold of me, but Mitch, all of them, I'll put all of their, and Amy, all of their contact information. So you can always click their name too, I guess, in Facebook, but if you want their office number and all that kind of stuff, I'll put that in there for everybody.
And the recorded version of this we can put on, correct? We can put on the.
I'm going to end up, because it's going to be a long file, so I end up putting it up on my YouTube channel and then sharing the YouTube link. So that way you can share it. Otherwise it'd be too long to share.
Yeah. Okay. Because as usual, you know, with something like this, you have the attrition. I have 4 people messaging me that they wanted to, and oh, please let me know the next time. And
Well, and there's been a lot of people who could not get in. My daughter was one of them. She was trying to get in. Her and her I said fiance. They're not engaged.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, her boyfriend, they were going to get in, and they came to our last seminar, and she had the hardest time ever. She could only get in on her phone, and they really wanted to be on the computer. So I don't know what's going on with Zoom. It used to be so easy and so quick. I don't know. I've been having some trouble lately. So
Yeah, technology, got a
Well,
lot
we'll
of it,
try.
right?
Yeah.
Jamie, we'll try some of those other platforms too, maybe.
yeah, we'll play with some other platforms and get this a little bit more rolling. I have a feeling it's more of the future. We've done a lot of these lately, so we'll figure it out. So anybody else have anything else? Jared, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, I just thank you.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks,
thank you
everybody.
guys.
This is awesome.
Appreciate it.
Mitch and everybody for helping us and being the local voice of currently what's going on. We really appreciate you. And if you listen to this and you think you found value in it, even if you listen to the replay, we would love to invite you to our next one. So reach out to the person who invited you, or you can post in the event. Whatever, we would love to invite you to our next one. We do different topics about every 6 weeks. Actually, I don't even remember. I don't even know when the next one is. I should probably announce that. But
About 6 weeks.
Yeah, right?
but usually we have it.
Oh.
Huh. Well, we'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
That was
Take care of
awesome.
yourselves. Bye,
Take care.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take care.